Welcome back to Workshop Friend. Today is something a little different. Over the years I've owned a number of lathes. I currently have three are in this workshop, and I thought it would be useful to do a little comparison on two commonly found lathes if you're into second-hand machines as I am. One is the Colchester Student Lathe and the other is the Myford. This is a Myford Super 7. The Colchester Student is circa 1965 and the Myford is actually 1958. And I use both of these machines, so I thought it would be helpful to do a little comparison for those of you who are thinking perhaps of buying one of these. So the Colchester Student Lathe is 60 inches long from here to here and 30 inches deep. So that's 5 feet by 2.5 feet. Or in metric, that's 1.52 meters by 0.76 meters. It comes on a nice stand, and the stand is an integral part of the machine and is actually a real asset. On the other hand, the Myford lathe is significantly smaller. This is a short bed model or standard length, and that's 45 inches long by 20 inches deep, not including the stand, so that's 1.14 meters by 0.51 meters. So it's a little bit smaller, but not that much smaller if you ask me. In terms of weight, the Colchester Student, the bare weight, that's the net weight without any extra components like chucks and faceplates and things, comes in at 625 kilograms. Versus 111 kilograms for the Myford Super 7, including the motor. Or that's 1,380 pounds for the Colchester Student versus 240 pounds for this. So that makes a big difference in terms of picking up a machine from somewhere. You've got to think very carefully about how you're going to transport and load the Colchester Student lathe. Something else that's not immediately obvious is access to the motor. You've got to access it from the rear, and I actually had to build a hatch in the wall to achieve that. So I knocked a hole through the wall and I've got a door into that, and I can access the motor from outside. On the other hand, the Myford lathe is very easy to access the motor, and you can change the motor quite easily even when it's mounted on a bench. So the other difference is the design of the beds. So the Colchester Student Lathe has V sections, V and flats, with the saddle operating on one V and the tailstock on the other. Whereas the Myford Lathe has a very simple plain section bed. And on my lathe, my version of the Myford Lathe, the saddle locates on the inner face of the bed here and the outer face, and the tailstock between the two. So there are some wear surfaces there that are shared between the tailstock and the saddle, namely this surface here. So it's much smaller, as you can see, a much smaller thing altogether. But of course the Myford has a gap bed, and my particular version of the Student Lathe doesn't have a gap bed, although many do. So the Colchester Student Lathe has a geared headstock, and so you've got this these gear shifts up here, and this one in the front here that engages and disengages the feed and the screw cutting gears. And if I just remove this cover, you can see a bit more. So you can see here the belt drive. There's a twin V belts down to a 3 horsepower motor, and this particular version has a clutch as well. And this is the feed arrangement for the screw cutting and feed shaft. So conversely, the Myford lathe has V belts throughout with the counter shaft, and gear changes effected like this. It does have back gear as well, which I rarely use actually these days. Now, one of the consequences of this difference is that the Myford lathe is much quieter at higher speeds. I tend to find the Colchester Student famously noisy in one particular speed range. So at lower speeds like this, noise level is acceptable. Even on the highest speed, it's not too bad actually. So he's a bit out of balance there. But where it is a bit noisy is in this speed range. But maybe not so bad after all. I think you can tell that's probably much quieter, but it's a much smaller machine. Having said that, incidentally, I use VFDs and three-phase motors on most of my equipment. So I've got a 1 horsepower motor on the Super 7 and a 3 horsepower modern three-phase motor on the Colchester Student. Now, as you'd expect, there's a much heavier nose fitting for the Colchester Student lathe, and it has a L0 fitting, and I just remove the chuck. You can see so that's released the chuck from the nose fitting, and I've got this support here, saves me from damaging the bed, and also enables me to fit my chucks and my faceplate more easily. So if we zoom in a bit, so the fitting is actually a standard taper, L0 taper with a key, and that gives a very positive location of my 2 chucks, my faceplate, the drive plate, which I also use for turning between centres, and my collar chuck, which is over there on the top of the cupboard. So as with many smaller lathes, the Myford nose fitting is a screw fitting like this with a register. That's 12 TPI 1 1/8 inch thread, and I mean, it works very well, but it's obviously a much lighter design. The thing you might have to be careful of is if you run the machine in reverse, and there's a slight danger of things unscrewing, though that's never happened to me. So I discovered that with my Colchester Student lathe, leveling is actually very important. Despite the rigid appearance of the bed and the base, the whole thing does twist if you don't mount it properly. So I've actually adopted 6 mounting points. I've got built into the stand, you've got 2 jacks, but I made two additional jacks, and that enables me to level it completely. So there's 2 here, there's 2 in the middle here, front and back, and there's 2 here, and I had to make this special key for getting into the rear jack down there. So I've made that to adjust everything and get it level, and I use an engineer's level, and that makes a difference. So on the good old Myford, I've got 2 raising blocks, which I don't believe are standard, and they incorporate jacking screws. So again, the mounting of the base, which is homemade, is important. That's leveled out on the ground and is stable, and then on top of that I jack the lathe to get everything square. In other words, jacking means, or leveling means, you're removing twist from the bed. Again, that's important. So when it comes to screw cutting and using the feeds, my student is definitely superior. So without any fiddling around, I've got a full range of imperial and metric screw threads, and just to change between the two, all I need to do is put that up for imperial threads and pull that down for metric threads, and that's just engage this. So just that disengages the lead screw. That's for English threads or imperial threads, and that's for metric threads. And then so a combination of these two levers plus the this selector gives me all the threads I need. And while we're looking at the Colchester Student Lathe, the feed shaft is really useful and important. It means that for feeds, both along the bed and using the cross slide, we don't have to use the lead screw, and that means you're preserving the lead screw for when it's really needed, i.e. when you're cutting threads. My Myford lathe, I don't have a gearbox, screw cutting gearbox. Some do, but I don't. So I just use a tray of a few extra gear change wheels, which I'll show you here. And believe it or not, with these extra gears and the ones already on there, I can cut all the threads I need to cut, including metric and imperial. It doesn't actually take so long to change the gears. The disadvantage with this lathe is there's no automatic feed, and I know that some Myfords do have a keyway cut in the lead screw to enable automatic feeds. I don't have that, and that is a little bit of a disadvantage, I find. I often do miss the ability to easily select feeds for just regular cutting. Now, on the student lathe, one of the features I really like is this adjustable feed mechanism. That's for longitudinal feed, that's for cross feed, and what this does, it's a very clever mechanism which enables it to disengage if it comes up against an obstacle, even a solidly placed bed stop. It will automatically cut off without damaging anything, so that's really handy. I guess that's one of the reasons why it's called a student lathe. So the Myford lathe has number 2 Morse taper at the headstock and tailstock ends, and in terms of extreme length between centres, you can get around about 8.5 inches in there without the tailstock overhanging the end, and it's 3.5 inches over the bed, so that's a 7-inch diameter over the bed, and in the gap 5 inches, so that's 10-inch diameter. So the Colchester Student takes number 3 Morse taper, but at the headstock there's an adapter, because this is a large taper that goes in here, so we have an adapter, and between centres, surprisingly, the maximum length without overhanging the tailstock is only about 22 inches. Now if that were a shorter centre there and this was a bit shorter, you could probably get in 2 foot. Yeah, 2 foot you can definitely get between centres. But if you have a live centre like this, then that's going to cut it down a bit further. So over the bed, now it's advertised as a 6-inch lathe, but in fact you can get over 6.5 inches over the bed, so that's a 13-inch diameter, and of course you have a lot more space over the saddle or the cross slide. With a bit of ingenuity, you can always machine larger items, as this video clip shows. That was machining the overarm support for my milling machine. So how would I compare the performance of the two machines? Well, obviously the Colchester Student is going to be better at removing metal more quickly. Obviously it can handle larger diameter work, but still in my workshop the Super 7 has a useful place. I prefer to do smaller detail work on the Myford Lathe. It just feels more comfortable and more natural. But I can still do small work on the Colchester Student as well, although the higher speeds are not that high. In terms of accuracy, I would say that both of them are remarkably accurate. But the Myford lathe is accurate because it's been refurbished. So when I got this lathe, I completely stripped it down. I had the bed reground, the saddle reground. I refitted the tailstock. I replaced the lead screw. That's a long story. That's another story. I also replaced the rack and pinion for the feed. So that gives you an indication of how much work was put into getting this to spec. But the Colchester Student, however, in terms of its basic layout, hasn't had that much done on it. And that probably reflects the fact that it's not had a hard life. But it also reflects the design. So the V bed design and the fact that the proportions are quite generous, I think, means that that kind of machine is going to last longer. But it's been used in educational establishments. Mistakes have been made, and swarf has been left in the tapers for mounting the chucks and the faceplate, and have damaged the nose spindle. But I've cleaned those things up. This machine almost certainly has been owned by a succession of people who've used it themselves, so they've probably taken more care in cleaning things up and lubricating, etc. In terms of producing swarf, the Colchester Student with 3 horsepower definitely produces a lot more swarf, and I noticed that I was throwing away a lot more swarf when I started to use that machine as compared with this one. So they complement each other, and I appreciate having both machines in the workshop. In terms of cost, well, you can look up on the internet yourself the current costs. I would say they're not so dissimilar for machines in reasonable condition, but you get a lot more for your money with a Colchester Student lathe. Having said that, you've got to think about the hassle of moving the machine, of locating it in your workshop, and obviously the Myford is much easier. I would say that this is definitely aimed at the hobby market. It's an amateur machine, good quality machine, amateur, but that's a light industrial machine, and I think that shows up in many ways. So I do hope that this quick comparison of the two machines has been helpful. Perhaps if you are in the market for a new machine, this might give you some tips.